are an echo, of course, of Gothic vaulting. So there was an extraordinary sense, and for me it was, I'm symbol crazy here, but it was a wonderful sense in which the majesty of Westminster, which is built both for monarchy and the people, those soaring vaults had a kind of fresh note of dazzling springtime green. And that was very much a kind of natural sense in the midst of all that ceremony with William and Kate. There were wonderful close-ups of him chatting to her, the two brothers larking around, Prince Harry as usual. Bit of teasing mischief going on. And so everybody responded to that. And then the moments that were solemn were gloriously solemn. Solemnity can be something for the people.
Of course. So Malcolm, I'll come along to some of the details in a moment, because lots of our viewers will be interested in what's going on now and how that's all happening. But an impression from you, first of all. You've been part of all of this planning. You know exactly what the stakes are. How did it seem to you?
I thought it was spectacular. It was faultless as far as I could see. Stunning bride and her prince in a wonderful setting. I thought it was magnificent.
Processions on the way back were magnificent too, and just seemed to be a wonderful end chapter to this part of the day.
Yes, that is British pageantry at its very, very best, and it was just a great joy to behold.
Well, now, I must ask you this, because we're waiting for the photographs to be taken and then for the balcony appearance. What's going on in there now?
An awful lot of people have got to move quite sharply from Westminster Abbey into Buckingham Palace. Behind the carriages we saw a great line of motor coaches. They were carrying all the foreign members of royal families who must be there for the photographs also. And simultaneously the rest of the guests will be brought to another entrance. So as soon as possible those 650 guests for the reception will be in. At the other side of the palace from where we are, the other side to the balcony, there are 4 state rooms. There's the white drawing room, the music room, the green drawing room, and the state dining room, all of which can be opened up into one enormous long room. And that is where the reception will take place. Close to that is the throne room, where the photographs will be. And again, there are many to be involved in the photograph. So they must all be got in and got to the right place.
It's a pretty daunting logistical exercise.
It's well practiced.
I knew you'd say that. I knew you'd say that. But it is well practiced, and I'm just imagining in terms of managing that process, because you've got lots of people who, have different needs and demands. They need to be in different places. Who's in charge? Who's actually telling people to go here and there?
The domestic side of Buckingham Palace is managed by the master of the household, and it is he and his staff, augmented for today, more are brought in than would normally be there, so that there is lots of people to help, to show, to just guide people through it.
And how long will the photograph take then? When they're all in the room, does it depend on the photographer and how determined he is?
The photographer has a job to do. There are those who are being photographed who will be grumpy if it goes on for too long, so he'll do it as sharp as he can.
Well, you can't blame them. It's been quite a long morning so far. I'm just going to have a look at Hyde Park, because you like these scenes. These will tell you something about the spirit of the day. This is what happened when they emerged from Westminster Abbey, and as you can see, it was a storm of confetti in Hyde Park as people simply enjoyed the scene and celebrated the fact that they were, after 10 years of knowing each other, 8 years of a relationship, now happily husband and wife. So there you have it. Wonderful image on the big screens there in Hyde Park, and I am absolutely sure that these scenes were repeated on those big screens in parks, towns and cities across Britain. So it's a nice, communal, unifying experience, and that's surely, Simon, part of the day's secret, isn't it?
Yes, it absolutely is. I mean, I was thinking, actually, watching the landau on the open carriages, horse-drawn carriages go back to antiquity, but then they were used for Caesars, really, emperors, to sort of parade the triumph. This is a kind of triumph of sentiment. It has a sort of very innocent quality to it, really. Everybody wishing this young married couple, simultaneously Prince and Princess, or Duke and Duchess, but also just 2 rather beautiful kids, wishing them well into the future. So the sense of being open to the public, the sense actually of the public being able to kind of join in this celebration was a marvellous thing in the middle of a complicated, difficult world.
Fascinated by one thing you said earlier to me about the contrast, really, between monarchy here and some other countries. There's a big grouping of foreign royalty here today, and one could draw quite a few contrasts with who's there, and in 1 or 2 cases who's not there. How would you help us even more with that contrast?
There's there's a real magic secret to the British monarchy. Whether they wished it on themselves or not, they got it sometime in the 19th century, and that was the abandonment of rough power in favour of a sort of symbolic, ornamental expression of how all the people could come together. With Queen Victoria, who invents the idea of the happy family, it ran into trouble because she became so determined to be the widow of Windsor and hide herself away. With the 20th century and the beginning of royal marriages in Westminster Abbey, with the Duke of York and his wife who became the Queen Mother, and then with 1947 happening still at a time when we are licking our wounds and trying to get up out of difficulty after the war, the secret came into kind of full bloom. You know, we love the royal family, most of us do. There's this natural outpouring affection because they're not in politics. They don't have to take the odium for unpopular decisions. That's the kind of secret weapon of the British monarchy, and it stood us in very good stead.
The secret weapon? Is that it? It's that detachment?
It's the balance. I think it's the balance between involvement and removal. And they do it so perfectly.
Because today, inevitably, raises questions about the future shape of the monarchy. We think ahead, Prince of Wales one day becoming king, and then, of course, a natural focus today on William and what kind of king he would make and what kind of Queen Catherine would make. So is the royal family happy that today actually opens up these questions?
Yes, it introduces a new generation, really, and everybody is very happy about it. It's a day to celebrate that and everything else that's going on. But as you say, we must think about the future. I'm sure they will be thinking about the future. The Queen has seen her eldest grandson now happily married. We can think about the future.
And thinking about the future includes that Diamond Jubilee next year, which is going to be a remarkable event.
It's going to be wonderful. It's going to be another remarkable event.
So without giving any state secrets away, is work on that advanced?
Yes.
What are the planning?
Yes.
What's the planning like?
It has to be, and you can't go into these with a short notice. So yes, it's been planned for quite some time. In its turn, really, get this out of the way, and then the attention will turn to the Jubilee, and we'll be planning hard in the autumn.
One of the big themes, whenever we do a programme which is to do with the royal family, we ask people for their views. And one of the themes constantly is the Queen celebrated her 85th birthday last week. And when you look at the schedule, just for the rest of this year, it's pretty tiring, it's pretty challenging, it's pretty daunting. There's no suggestion at all that the Queen sometimes gets tired and needs a bit of a rest, and maybe these events should be stretched out a little. A visit to Ireland, a state visit, first by a British monarch, that's in itself a very big thing to take on.
Yes, but the team in Buckingham Palace are well aware of this, I can tell you. And her pace has reduced a little bit. Longer weekends, so it isn't relentless. But she has committed herself to us, to the country, to the monarchy, and she will see it through.
Gentlemen, I'm going to just pause for a second and thank you for your thoughts. Very interesting to talk to you again. We mentioned Hyde Park, didn't we? Because we saw all the confetti storming and billowing when the royal couple emerged from Westminster Abbey. Our man Matt is there for us, talking to people. Let's join him.
Hello, Hugh. Hello, Hugh. Yeah, the confetti was a special moment. We've had a few special moments just now. This is how we do it in Hyde Park. We take a blanket, we put it on the floor, and we fill it with children. All of these children just turned up from I have no idea where from, but their spokesperson is Millie. Is it afternoon? We're not quite there yet. Afternoon. Good afternoon, Millie.
Good afternoon.
How was your royal wedding so far?
It's been great, you know. We all got together and made these cool t-shirts.
Yes.
Catherine and Wills, and we made fascinators just like Kate Middleton.
Yes.
Right there and right there.
So all of those you've made?
Yeah, and we also made these hats.
Because I didn't bring a hat.
Oh, do you want mine?
Could I? Would you mind?
Yeah.
That's very kind. Thank you very much. So now I've got a hat. And also you've been learning how to curtsy, and we can show the rest of the country how you curtsy.
Yeah,
Okay, guys, let's do it.
Let's do this. So,
How do you do it?
you put your right leg behind your
Right leg behind.
and scrunch down.
Okay, and bend like that.
Yep.
And that's how you curtsy. Fantastic. We can all sit down again. Marvellous. Did you notice, as I did, that whenever something special happened up on the screen, the sun came out and we were all bathed in a warm glow?
Yeah, right when Kate was walking down the aisle, the sun just came out, and it was so warm and awesome.
Let's see if we can make it happen again. Guys, I want you to look straight into the camera, wave your flags, and say, "Come on, sunshine," okay? Wave the flags. Come on, sunshine. Back to the studio, Hugh. Come on, sunshine.
Matt, I feel the sunshine's behaving, actually. It's been pretty good, and there's a hint of it. There's a hint of it, so that's better than we expected. We were fearing much worse weather today, so we are very grateful for that. Sir Malcolm will know how much gratitude there is in the palace because of the weather, wouldn't you?
Yes, relief,
Yeah.
I think, as well as gratitude.
Yeah.
Of course, there was a plan. If the worst had happened, they could have coped with it. But to actually get through dry has been a great success and made it happy for everybody.
I'm going to just introduce this theme of the balcony because it's very important for us to just maybe talk about this now. It's such an iconic thing, it's such an important thing. Here we are. I suppose it's the start of the popular balcony appearance, the tradition. Duke of York, Elizabeth Bowes-Lyon, they were when they got married back in 1923, and look at this, 1947. Wonderful images in colour, brings it all back to life in such a vivid way. And there we have Princess Elizabeth and Prince Philip, as they were then, greeting these crowds surging down the Mall. And if we come forward to 1981, seems like yesterday for some of us. Diana and Charles on that famous balcony once again and producing what became a very famous public kiss. To be repeated by others, and I'm sure to be repeated again today, but we'll have to see whether that happens. So that's what we're waiting for. The famous balcony. A focus, really, of celebration for the nation and at times where people come together at times of national crisis and sorrow. So it's a very powerful place for us to be thinking about at the moment. With great bands in the Household Division, the Foot Guards being led very ably along the Mall down towards the Queen Victoria Memorial. And these are the Irish Guards, with a very, very good tradition of high-quality music making going back more than a century.
Come on in, Dad.
Sense for you there of what's happening along the Mall, because you have the line of police officers and they try to control the surge. They do it very effectively, but to see the effect of it is, well, it's quite something, really. You see the strength of the crowd, and up they come from Horse Guards Parade, and they'll be allowed to make their way gently down towards the palace, ready for that balcony appearance. The Mall movement, as the police call it. Held just near the Duke of York steps at the moment, but it won't be long before they're allowed to surge along. As we can see, some people just coming up from St James's Park itself and from the direction of Admiralty Arch. The view from the palace, when that happens, must be quite stunning to see this army of people marching down the Mall towards that memorial. Must be quite a sight.